Alright, hello everybody. Not quite got a good setup as Terry has, but right, this is a basic video for fiberglassing 3D parts, alright? So I'm going to go just with a basic one for now. All printed, ready to go. Preparation wise, you're best cutting your fiberglass up. I get it on a roll. You can buy it in a in a pack. There's lots of different ways of buying this stuff. So pre-cut it into small squares, smaller sections as well, to go around sort of where you want it to sit really, so you can build your layers up like this. And same with on the inside, you sit it in and build it up. Fiberglass isn't very flexible to start with, so a good method as well is to actually scrunch it up, and then it becomes a lot more flexible. It'll bend better and make life a lot easier. Don't need to do anything with the printed parts because they've already sort of got a key to them, so there's no need to sand them up and rough them up or anything like that. Brush, scrappy old brush. You'll need one of them. Right, with the resins, again, there's lots of different resins. I sort of measured mine out because mine comes in a big. I'll buy big tins of it basically. Same with catalysts. I buy big catalysts. So I do it by weight. That's 200 grams, which I think would be about 6 ounces for you guys. And that is the amount of catalyst you need for that amount of. I assume we can see this. I don't know. Oh yeah, there we go. I haven't got a good setup like you, Terry. Right. Okay, so mixing. So preparation. It's messy. Fiberglass is horrible. I hate the stuff, but it's great at the same time. I'll definitely say put something down because it will dribble around. It will make a mess. No two ways about that. So, got your resin, got your catalyst. In it goes. Like I say, it seriously isn't much. This is mixed at 2%. Now you can sort of, depending on how warm it is or how cold it is, really, you can go to a sort of maximum about 3%. But if it's very hot and you're working in a warm place, 3% will go off very, very quickly in heat. So you're better off sort of mixing somewhere in the middle, 1.5 to 2% for whatever weight you're doing. And the trick is to give it a very good mix because there's not a lot of catalyst to go around when you put it in. So you've got to make sure it's really well stirred in there. Right, now to get it to stick well to begin with, your best thing to do is literally paint a layer inside. So whatever part you're doing, slap it in there and get a nice coat of resin all the way around it. That will help seal all the printed sections together as well. Because I think Terry done a video actually and sort of showed you that you can actually see a lot of gaps with 3D parts where it doesn't really sort of join together as well as you would hope it would. Okay, so try and make sure you see that. You can sort of see that's coated all round, all the sides, and well in there. So what you do now is you take your fiberglass. Let's say make it easy, you can screw it up and scrunch up a little bit, flat it back out, and then you literally lay it in there. Just in a rough place, get some smaller bits, cut up different sizes, different squares, smaller, bigger, obviously to fit whatever part you're making really. And then lay it in. You don't want to overlap too much because obviously some of the areas, so see there, I've got a small gap there, so I'll use a small piece like that, and that will go in there nice like that. Now this one's going to be 2 layers thick. You could get away with 1 layer if you wanted to, but this, where I said paint it on first, this is where it helps to help sort of stick bits in place and hold them there. So now you can see I'm going right around the edges. Now it doesn't matter that the fact that it's coming up over the edges of the part, because at the end of it, when it's all set and dried, you'll sand that off. But what I will say, just a little trick, is not to get too much resin above the part itself, because you start to get like sagging a bit, and when it sags it makes it a bit harder to keep it all tight and in place, because obviously corners can be a bit tricky. There you go, last bit. So that's layer 1 in there. Now what you do now, come back with your resin and your brush and literally squish it all in there. Get your resin on, get your resin in there, and you'll see it starts quite white, and the more you soak it in, you're basically pushing all the air out. And that's the trick. You can get rollers and things as well if you want to. Parts like this, I've not had to use a roller, to be honest with you. I've been okay using a brush and literally squishing it in there. Go all the way around. Get right in your corners. Your corners are the biggest one because that's where the air will get trapped. And you will, no matter what, no matter how hard you try, you will still get air in the corners. It's a pain in the ass, it really is, but it's not the end of the world. You can, when it's done and sanded, if it looks like it could be a very weak spot, you can just put some resin down it, just fill it up. So you can see there, just keep working around it, just keep working it. But this is what I was saying about it coming above the edge. It's not a problem at all, but just try not to go too far over or too far up with the resin. Let's say again, it will go up, it will go above it slightly because you have to. To get it to bond nicely to the edges, you have to go above. So that's pretty much the first layer in. I'm just trying to get where it lips over the hair. You can see some of the sort of air that gets trapped under there. You've got to try and squish that down if you can. So that's your first layer sort of goes in. And as I said, you don't need to worry about any of this. That all comes off at the end when it's all dry. You will get it all over the part. There's nothing you can do about it, really. It's a messy job, this part of it. So obviously first layer's in. So we start with the second layer now. You don't wait for it to dry off with the first layer or anything like that. You literally go straight with the second layer. Of course, you've got to be careful, try not to push too much of the original layer down and out of the way. And I say you've got to work reasonably quick because it will go off quite quick. I probably should have made this up a little bit less, so I could explain to you guys a bit slower really, but I didn't, so it's hard lines. So again, once these parts don't always necessarily need 2 layers, but obviously it makes it nice and strong. You can get right in there, and I'll do exactly the same again. I'll put the second layer on. Second layer is a bit easier because obviously it's already soaking in there. So the second layer, you can get it on there and get it stuck right in there. But this, that's the other thing. Wear gloves for God's sake. This stuff's horrible, and it gets everywhere. And you will find you walk it all in a house, and then the missus goes mad at you and tells you to get out of the house because you've made fiberglass stains everywhere. You walked fiberglass, this stuff everywhere. You see, you end up looking like Wurzel Gummidge. Okay, so the second layer goes in, exactly the same as the first. Just pack it in there, get the resin in there. There's no fancy art to it to make it look pretty because it just doesn't at this stage. It just looks like a big bloody mess of all sorts there. I'm doing quite well at this video for talking because I don't normally like doing videos, but I hope you like it. I hope it's going to be useful to some of you. I'm going to do a second part as well when this is set and gone off, I'll do a second part for cleaning up the edges and stuff like that, and then the next stage, which is the filler, or bondo for you guys over there, as you like to call it. And I'll show you exactly how to cover it, smooth it, sand it. I don't want to teach people to suck eggs that might know how to do all this, but I know Terry was interested to learn a bit more, so I just thought this might help you guys out a little bit. And we are almost there. It's just a case of keep working it. Just push it in nice and tight, get rid of all that air, get it in the corners. And as I was saying to you, it will come up over the edges here, and you'll see it. Don't worry about it, it's not a problem. It's not going to cause any issues like that. It's just you want to keep it as close to the part as you can, so it doesn't come too far above it. But yeah, you've got just cool. Sort of keep working it with the brush. You just stipple it in there, keep working the corners, get all that air out. And that all goes in like that, nice and tight. And like I say, 2 layers, plenty for a lot of this stuff. I say some of the parts that you need to keep a bit of space. 1 really good layer. Sort of a really good thick layer, I'd say. You could get away with that as well, and a good dousing of resin, sort of really get the resin covering it, because you'll see that now from when you first start dabbing it in, it's quite white. It's like the actual colour of the fiberglass itself. As you get the resin in there and really saturate it and squish it, you can hear it squishing in there. The colour disappears and it sort of goes to the colour of whatever colour the resin is. Resins come in different colours as well. I mean, this one obviously when it's mixed up looks a bit sort of greenish. You can get clear resins, but I say again, there's no issue to what colour it's got to be, because at the end of it you're not going to see it anyway. Okay, so that is now pretty much well coated in resin. There you go, just make sure it's look right round it, you can see all through it. As I said, it looks a mess. Your fingers get all sticky, it gets all over it. As you can see there, you end up looking like, well, going bits sticking out of you everywhere. Like I say, you're better off as well mixing up more than what you might need, because if you run short and you're halfway through sort of fiberglass, and you haven't got enough time to start mixing some up to try and get more. So you're better off wasting some, and brushes, get lots of cheap brushes, because you go through these, that's a one-use thing. That'll go in the bin now, basically, that whole lot. Unless you've got more parts that you're ready to go with, which I didn't bring down because I was just showing you guys a little tutorial. A little bit of mist just in there. Yeah, so I'm going to let that set now. I'll come back and I'll show you part 2, which is cutting it all down and sort of finishing it all off. Should show you some of the other bits that we've got in that's made in the past. This is all fiberglass and gel coat. These are Iron Man arms that I started to make. Then you got lower sections as well. So that's all the forearm would go in. I don't know if you can see that or not. Sort of in like that. But they all come from moulds that I made. Same again, you can make any of these parts, and then can't see where I've got it. There you go. You can make silicone moulds. So this is other parts. That would be, which picture that would be that bit there for the Iron Man. Right, so that's a shoulder bell. Same again, that's all fiberglass, and the outside's gel coat. Basically, the gel coat is your 3D printed plastic, is really, but that's a painted version. All come from rubber moulds. That sits into a hard shell, and the fiberglass and the gel coat gets painted into this section here. And then once it's all set and dry, you come up with pieces like this. So the moulds can be made of all the parts. There's no problems to any shapes or any parts. Just give you an idea. So this is stuff I made a long time ago. It's very dirty, very dusty. So that would be the back section of the boot for the Iron Man suit. Same again. A mould was made. There's your rubber silicone mould, and the outside had a hard shell. So you would paint the fiberglass into there. You'd let it set hard. That would be a suit like that would be about 3 layers thick. And then yeah, you'd pop your hard shell off. That would go off out of the way, and then you peel your gel coat. You peel your silicone mould away, and then that produces more parts. I've got endless amounts of bits everywhere. Even got this guy. Put his top bit on as well, I'll show you. There he is. Anyway, when that sets, I'll come back and I shall show you the next stage of it all. Hope this is going to help a little bit, and I hope I don't sound too much of a dick, but here we go.